Hello and welcome to the Misfits Makery. Today I'm going to show you how to make your Suncatcher stick. So I'm just going to show you what we've got in your box. We've got a stick with all the holes drilled in place ready. We've got some tiny pliers. You've got 7 pieces of nylon string all cut to length. You've got a hanging hoop. Here we've got a set of charms. These are some tiny beads that you'll use later on. These are called crimps. You'll use these to hold everything in place. And these are spacers. All the spacers and charms will vary in design and colour, and you've got a selection of beads. We've got a chain that you will use later on when you're putting it all together. So to start off, you're going to need a charm, a crimp and a spacer and a piece of string. So what you're going to do first is you'll grab your crimp and slide it onto the string. And then you'll put your spacer and then put on your charm. Now once you've put your charm on, you're going to pull the string through a little bit, fold it over and pop it back through the spacer. Make sure you don't have too much of a tail coming out of the spacer, and then push it back through your crimp. So once they're both through, you're just going to rest the crimp on your finger. Just going to make it look super fiddly for you a minute there. There we go. If you rest it on your finger, you just grab your pliers and squeeze that crimp completely flat. And then if you give the charm a little tug, you'll see it's completely secure. And then you can just grab your beads and feed them on however you want. I like to do mine in like similar colours, so I'll have like a red string and an orange string, but obviously you can mix it up however you like. So I'm just going to speed the video up so you can see what I'm doing. Basically, the strings are designed to be about 15 centimetres long, so I've drawn a couple of dots on the bottom of my slate there just so I can easily sort of measure. And so that string, bead to bead, is 15 centimetres. So now you're just going to go through all 7 strings, making sure that you've got the crimp and the charms and things nice and secure at the bottom, and about 15 centimetres worth of beads on each one. So when you're done, you'll have 7 strings that look a bit like this, and you'll notice I've put a bead aside for each string. So next, what you're going to do is you're going to grab your stick and your chain and one of your strings, and grab the very end of your chain and the end of one of your strings, and you're just going to feed the string through the very last link on your chain and pull it down to the beads. Now decide which way up you want your stick to go, because you're going to feed this up from the bottom through to the top. I've decided to kind of have it in a U shape, so I'm going to go start this end, and you just feed it through till it pops out the other side. Now we're going to secure this with a bead. Again, I'm going to stick with like colours for mine. So pop a bead on through there, and we're going to secure this end one on in place with a crimp. So grab yourself a crimp and just feed it onto the string and push it down to the very top of the bead. Once you've popped that crimp on, again, rest it against your finger so it doesn't move out of place. Then grab your pliers and just squeeze it flat so that that entire string now is held in place through the stick. Next, we're going to do exactly the same thing but on the far end of the stick. So grab your chain and string, pop the string through the very last link and pull it down to the beads. What this is going to allow us to do is evenly distribute the loops in the chain. So we're going to go up the far end, poke the string through and secure it in the same way. So I'm going to pop a red bead on there, and then I'm going to put a crimp on, squeeze the crimp flat so that whole string is completely secure. This next string's been put on in the same way, but we're just going to secure it slightly differently. So this time what you can do is once you've fed the string up through the stick, we're going to put a crimp on and then the bead. And then the string is going to go around the bead and back down through the crimp. So we've got the chain attached to that as well before it came up through the stick. So just wrap the string over the top and back down, and then you're just going to pull it tight. Once you're happy that you've pulled that nice and tight and there's no slack on the string underneath, just grab your pliers and squeeze that crimp flat. Once you're happy that that's secure, just grab a pair of scissors and snip off that excess bit of string. Now you've got those first 3 in place, you can put the other 4 on, and you can just kind of work out roughly where to put the strings up through the chain, and you're going to attach them all in the same way as you did that middle string, making sure you don't snip off those 2 outside strings. Now we're going to go back to those 2 outside strings and we're going to decorate them with those teeny tiny beads that you saw right at the start. You might have some of your other beads left, which you're obviously more than welcome to use, but for this tutorial I'm going to use the tiny ones. So what I do is I put a bunch of them into the palm of my hand and I just poke the string through them. It's just a lot easier than picking that up with your thumb and forefinger and sort of trying to poke the string through them. So if you just kind of scoop them up with the string and let them fall down, and as you can see, actually it builds up quite quickly. And you'll want these to be sort of between 12 and 15 centimeters long. No matter what length you choose to make these little mini bead strings, both strings need to be the same so that the hoop hangs in the middle. So now I've got about 12 to 15 centimeters on each string. What I've done is I've grabbed a crimp and I'm going to put both of these strings up through one, so from the bottom up through the top. And you can see that if I push them down that they're quite even, which means our stick will hang nice and level. And then if I push them down with the pliers and squeeze it flat, those teeny tiny beads are all completely secure now. So grab yourself another crimp. Both of those strings are going to go up through the bottom and out of the top like the last one. But we're not going to squeeze it closed just yet. Just let it drop down to the beads. Then grab your ring, poke both of your strings through the ring and then back down through that last crimp. Once you've got them both through there, you can pull them tighter around the ring. You don't want them completely tight. You want a little bit of movement so that it can hang nicely, but you want it kind of close around the wooden ring. Once you're happy with where your strings are, grab your pliers, Squeeze that final crimp completely flat, and then you can just snip off those 2 little bits of string that are sticking out the bottom. And there you have it. Your sun catcher is complete, and now you just need to find somewhere nice and sunny to hang it. I hope you enjoyed. Bye!